All right, 10:01 a.m. I want to speak to what is the state's fake sun, which is directly over where I'm at the museum. So as I'm here, this is where the state's light source is during the day. And again, as I've already shown, the state's light source over this same exact location where I am at the Ontario Museum of History and Art, as the state engages in quote-unquote rising a sun over this same location, not just over the property, but over me at the property. I've documented this already, and engaging in that same conduct at the other venues where I was documenting the state's pattern of conduct as well. This is the state stalking with light. Omnitrans engaging in P.O.C. Just like I captured in video, the same conduct while the state was stalking via helicopter while I'm at BNG Plaza, and Omnitrans engages in creating audible and light activity in relevant position. That is the people acting via it, none other than a commercial actor in a commercial vehicle where the same exact elements remain present. That is what the state is doing via Omnitrans and with every other third-party group stalker that is engaged in surveillance and group stalking under the state's light source, while they are also stalking with light using what they have at their disposal, chiefly their vehicles, okay? They are engaging in ongoing audible activity, relevant positioning, while the state continues to manufacture ongoing audible activity and amplification of ongoing audible activity. All right, so it is 10:03 a.m. And I'm gonna go ahead and take an image of what USPS is engaged in: federal group stalking and monitoring, loitering in relevant position on transit on the opposite side of Euclid Avenue, diagonally across from me on where I stand at the museum. So I'm going to show what is the movement of the state's light source. This is real-time migration of the light source, as I am no longer standing at the end of the aisle on the south side of the museum. And again, I've already shown this, but I'm just going ahead and I'm showing you in real time what the state does with its light source. The state does the same thing when I walk a different route to the same venue. All right. But that is just showing on a bigger picture what the state is doing everywhere that I walk, which is keeping its light source directly over me. All right, I just captured video. That's the real-time movement of the state's light source from one place to another at the same property, all right, which is what the state is doing on a ceaseless basis. All right, and that goes toward what the people are doing with it. That's why it stalks with a light source. That's why it stalks with things such as airplanes and helicopters and amplifies that activity. Okay, it's the use of amplification, the use of light. This is serving for stalking that is exceeding the state's direct conduct. The state is not stalking by itself. The state is group stalking. The state is not monitoring by itself. It is engaged in monitoring as a group with the people of the state. All right, so that is amplification of plane activity as the people of the state are patrolling past on Holt Boulevard. The state is controlling the lights, the traffic lights. And this is the state also, via the people, patrolling on Euclid Avenue. That's P.O.C. while the state's fake sun is in movement over me. So 581973. And impulsible light activity while this vehicle drives by in the shade. And that is the documented conduct with light as they drive by. 8PAY325. That's satanic. All right, that's demonic activity. These are demons engaged in criminal activity. All right, this toothless demon, license plate 8SYS 107. All right, so as I've captured a plethora, I mean, I have ample documentation, not only the state's fake sun, but you're talking about the state's directed light. And this is that light which is impossible to occur naturally. And so as third parties, because that's what they are, and that's why that light activity coexists with their engagement in the criminal element of crossing path. All right, while they are crossing path, this impossible light activity is streaming all over the surfaces. License plate, let's see. 5FTK 960 3405672 8TEM 236 8MTY 553 6LZP 221 5NHU 102 5BVX 098 3955 1X1 6TBL 803 7UUL 445. All right, they're not only psychopaths, they're sex offenders. Okay. The state is, and that's the credibility of the documentation. That is the significance of what is showing a fake sun while you're molesting with that light source. 7W4 5556 8EXD 620. That's audible activity. 8JOV 643 Omnitrans crossing path. License 1545907. All right, this is intentional conduct. Bus number 2363. That audible activity coincided with the state's fake sun. All right, that pause was due to the video that I just captured, the state's fake sun. And as I walk a different route, the state's fake sun is over my head as I go that different route. All right, and that's what I was speaking to. The intentional presence of Omnitrans to engage in criminal activity, which is also of a psychopath and none other than a commercial vehicle. It does not change the character of the conduct. The psychopath, criminal, and sexually violent conduct that Omnitrans is engaged in, identifying the actor as none other than a commercial actor. It is the same group. It's the people of the state. All right, that bus driven by an African-American female. The state's impossible light activity while the group stalkers crossing path are driving past. I've shown this already in video. That's what's ongoing. 8ETP236, 7SOK 715. And the state's fake sun directly over my head while Omnitrans in that position, maintaining presence, loitering. That's what that's doing while the state's monitoring. 8EVD403. their loitering in relevant position under the state's instruments of criminal monitoring with which they are facilitating. So as I proceed to walk on Euclid Avenue, not walking the back way from what is Hope Boulevard, crossing the street, State's Fake Sun is not over the vacuum business, not over Motor Inn at 111 Euclid Avenue. I'm sorry, at 111 Lemon Avenue. As I've captured ongoing. I've captured this for over a week now. You're looking at what the state was doing with its light. 4NLY 966, and the State's Fake Sun directly over my head. And as I've already shown, traveling in absolutely opposite directions based on where I am going. Okay, and so this is showing yet again. This is a commercial vehicle monitoring 80983C2. That is ELCA fire protection, license number C16897188. The logo, it's a big ELCA. All right, that's a state that's already stalking, just sounding sirens. The Fake Sun directly over me. I'll take a picture of that. All right, it's 10:14 a.m. Capturing images, video. That's what that pause is for. Capturing another video, 10:14 a.m. So look at the look at the visual documentation, and you're looking at what I'm showing as I go a different route to the same location, the State's Fake Sun, and in documented locations, relative to where I am maintaining the same central position over my head at different times, and then remaining at those venues for as long as I remain. And this is also mutually exclusive based on the locations of such venues. And in addition to the fact that it is not it's a scientific fact as to where the State's Fake, not the State's Fake Sun, but the actual sun, the star, the one sun that exists, that moves around the entirety of the earth, that does not remain over Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, does not remain over Economy Inn at 231 South Euclid Avenue, does not remain over B&G Plaza, does not remain over Mercy House at 435 South Bonneview, does not remain at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. All right, all the locations where I'm documenting the state's stalking with light, because I'm there. So everywhere that I'm documenting the state's pattern of conduct, because that is what the state is engaging in with light. And why? Because the state is group stalking along with psychos like 8UEF 869, okay? P.O.C 7XIV 551. This is standing at Ontario Town Square. I demonstrated this in the afternoon after I got off third-party facilitating venue Omnitrans. In the afternoon. It is 10 o'clock in the morning right now. And at the same location, the State's Fake Sun stood directly over my head. And on that day, that's June 4, 2021, I pointed out on that day the fact that the State's Fake Sun is used to maintain presence over my head, maintain light as minions such as AETA 434, 5Z VW478, 5 UYD 769, 4FOU 995, 7WCA 429, 8WMM 958, minions galore, okay, including those in the sky. That's an all-white commercial plane. And the state knows that I'm documenting the names of them. Let me get that. All right, I did capture more video speaking to what is the exact same engagement of criminal monitoring. This is the state stalking with light. This is speaking to the prosecution of the people, okay, which is already established. I'm thoroughly picking out details by details, every way that you look at it, every way you flip it, any way you want to, whatever vantage point you take, you're looking at what the state is doing. It's blatant stalking with light. This is in the afternoon on June 4th, 2021, which is what I captured on my video that this is why you've got to pause. You're going to watch that video. Look at the video on June 4th. Oh, you can look at every single video and see it, but I'm making a precise point here. June 4th, 1:48 p.m. where I'm at Economy Inn at 231 South Euclid Avenue, where the state's fake sun is directly over my head. It remains over the property. That's the totality of that documentation that I captured in August 2020, and also again as I am back at that property from March 2021, essentially until June of 2021. And what is the state doing with its light source? It's remaining over that venue, okay? And even when I was working in Riverside County, the state's fake sun was over that venue in Riverside and then follows, stalks, remains, and goes back to the property. If I stop working, it's not over me at the office building at Country Village Apartments in Harupa Valley. It's over that parking lot at Economy Inn. And on June 4th, when I leave that property, I'm standing outside in the state's fake sun at 1:48 p.m. It's over my head, squarely over my head, okay? It is not even 1:48 p.m. and this is the point that I continue to make. On Sunday, and so today, my point, let me finish that to the conclusion. My point is, I am standing at the same exact location after I departed third-party facilitating venue Omnitrans. I'm standing at the same location, and the state's fake sun is over me at this time in the morning, okay? Where it was not even possibly present here on June 4th, where it was over me in the afternoon before I had even arrived here. And in the morning and in the afternoon, you're talking about after 2 p.m. and right now 10 a.m. at the same location over my head where I am standing at the same place. En route to the same venue, the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, which I've also in the past week shown how the state's fake sun is already supposed to be at the side of the library. That's what's supposed to be the reason for the directed light over the elevator, which the actual sun is not directly over the library. And even as I step outside, you're saying, what is the state's fake sun in front of the library after I captured on the side of the library as I'm approaching it, which is also not an explanation. If you're aiming light over the elevator, oh, that means the sun is directly over that window. Okay, because the sun exists, because the sun is the Ontario Police Department crossing path going south on Euclid Avenue, under the fake sun, under the impossible light activity that's all around on the sidewalk while the minions are crossing path. Ontario Police Department are minions, okay? So while you have what is the presence of daytime, because you have what is the sun that exists, and this is not even the actual sun, this is the state's fake sun, this is California's light source for monitoring with communication devices, that does not amount to sun aiming down onto the staircase. So that's a means of stalking with light. In other words, that's what they're doing at that venue because they're monitoring. All right. And that environment is the prosecution of that. All right. That's exactly what they're doing. This is what the state is doing outside. All right. And this is 10 a.m. and you're comparing with what is after 2 p.m. on June 4th, 5SHH344. And this is speaking to exactly what I documented last night. The state stalking by helicopter. That's the state stalking directly. The state stalking by fire, police, and ambulance. Every single last one of them stalking inconspicuously, didn't sound any siren while they were loitering in relevant position as I sat on the side of the library and a helicopter begins sounding. Again, the state is always stalking with planes and helicopters. The state begins sounding helicopter as I begin moving and packing up my belongings. And as the state that is the stalker anticipates me to go to Shiro's Liquor inside of B&G Plaza, they are stalking on the opposite side of that same building, which is the identical conduct that the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department engaged in on January 7th, where I was coming from Starbucks. The stalker knows that I'm there, and I'm walking to the car at 630 North Fern. They are providing a barrier of light as I'm walking from one place to another. So as I'm leaving the side of the library to go to the route, either way, even if I go to the museum or whether I go to Shiro's Liquor, they are in position creating substantial light, and the minions that are surrounding, many of whom I documented last night, including Metro 102, who are engaged in criminal summoning, acting with that state that is stalking and monitoring with communication devices, using their emergency vehicles to do so, creating a barrier of light, stalking on the side of that building, remaining in relevant position as I travel from one place to another. I went around and captured that on video, and what you're seeing, and you're seeing them standing around, you're looking at satanic conduct. They're not doing anything other than creating the elements for monitoring with communication devices. They're engaged in criminal facilitation, and you're literally looking at what is satanic activity. And you're looking at the face, you're hearing the words coming out of what are minions working for the devil, as they're saying, oh, be careful, watch out. They're the enemy. They're the ones that have engaged in multiple counts of kidnapping. They're the ones that are engaged in stalking. They're the ones that are engaged in harassment. They're the ones that are, again, stalking on the side of buildings. The Ontario Fire Department was already stalking. That's why their sirens immediately sound loudly. All right. They don't sound coming from a distance. They were already stalking in the past, ready to sound their sirens. They're psychopaths. All right. That's demonic activity. And you see them standing around, all this light, AMR ambulance loitering, fire department, Ontario Police Department loitering the entire time. When I turn on my video and I'm recording what is real time activity while I'm standing there witnessing it with my eyes and recording it on my podcast, that scene immediately wraps up. Okay. They're doing nothing but monitoring, and it's demonic activity. All right. And they're using their emergency vehicles to do so. And this is directly tied to what I'm capturing again on yet another day. The state's fake sun at the same location at totally different times of the day. 10 a.m. in the morning, the same position after 2 p.m. after remaining over me at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. That's P.O.C. 10:24 a.m. And I just want to show what is the absence of the state's fake sun over the library right now. That's what I'm going to capture. License plate 7HPW 820 5KUV 370 8DML 475. They're monitoring 8S 41181 7V2053 7VZE053. Monitoring it via Omnitrans, sitting at 7911 bus stop, loitering in relevant position, 813SXA7, 8FHG507 is on the back of that car, 8SNU187, 7VKY, I can't really see the rest of that plate. That's P.O.C. All right, in Omnitrans, just like I captured in the video, stalking with the fake sun on the side of that bus, where I stood there at bus stop 7911, the state's fake sun in between the buildings, right over my head, and here it is right here over my head at Ontario Town Square. Monitoring then and monitoring right now in relevant positions: 7ZCK695, 8KWU 850, 8EAY 261, and that's satanic. That's the Satan operating, engaging in criminal activity using nothing but a commercial brand. 7RGL 933. And understand how federal policy is going to work. Omnitrans is a sex offender molesting my person as it's monitoring with the government and intentionally engaging that. You're also going to look at the state of mind. You're monitoring. You're also aware of the documentation as you're ongoing, pursuant to your ongoing criminal activity, which is sexually violent, speaking to the violence of that sex offender, in addition to the fact that it's the government. You're in the shoes of the government. 8JGS850. That's all going toward, that's just Omnitrans. This is how you're going to prosecute the people as you slice them down at prosecution. All right. This is minions lined up at the traffic light. The state is controlling the lights. Omnitrans engage in ongoing facilitation, sexual violence with all the rest of them. 6HDF 596, LOOPT 7WDY 519, 6KHK 522, 6YBT 932, 7Y54095, 7XRCO 78, 5MPR 104, 77528T2, 7MOU 948. All right, and Omnitrans bus route, that's 83, that's sitting at bus stop number 7911 right now. Understand they are armed with surveillance cameras, which I am also referencing, all right, in real time moving now. They're armed with surveillance cameras, and I'm on those surveillance cameras while they're loitering, creating light activity, sexually violating with the state, monitoring with the state. That's a psychopath driven by, looks like a male, looks like a Caucasian male. License plate 1302444, bus number 2357, loitering at bus stop number 7911, engaged in P.O.C, and the surveillance cameras will show what they are doing because it's monitoring conduct. That's no ordinary transit line right there. That's P.O.C as it's captured and documented on their venue as well. Ontario Town Square armed with surveillance cameras. That's another form of documentation. It is 10:30 a.m. and that's when Omnitrans crosses path after loitering in relevant position. That is sitting in alignment, monitoring with the minions that are crossing path. While they're in traffic. All right, they're monitoring on the grounds of the Ontario Town Square. They're monitoring at Wells Fargo. They're monitoring all the businesses that I named, and that's just the immediate vicinity. So I'm gonna take some pictures, and this is what you're gonna want to look at, because what I've already captured is the state's fake sun over my head as I walk north on Lemon, and the state's fake sun is just moving about, being over Metro 102 apartments, then being over 280 North Lemon as I'm walking up the street toward the library. Fake sun nowhere over those apartments. It's right over me as I'm standing at Ontario Town Square, and I'm gonna take a picture of the absence of the sun over those apartment buildings, because the actual sun is never there. This is the fake sun that the state is keeping over my head as I travel at any place. There is no sun over that apartment building. There is no sun over the amphitheater, over the Metro 102 apartments, as I captured, by the way, at the same time while I'm walking from the museum to the library. Where is it right now? It's right over my head. All right, and so this is documentation of what our third-party group stalkers engaging in abuse and corruption of youth while they're monitoring with children. All right, monitoring is sexually violent conduct. All right, it's that of a psychopath, and using minor children while they're doing so. This is what the government is routinely engaged in, and it's routinely engaged in facilitating. It is 10:32 a.m. Referencing the security cameras because they're all monitoring. And that's just speaking to my presence, which is speaking to the criminal activity that they're all jointly engaged in right now. 96754S2, 5ZVW478, 8WJN297, patrolling on C Street, 8HCR455, 6VRK292, 7WGR246, loitering in relevant position, lights on, got his hazards on, just sitting parked with the hazards on, 7XEP817, 71440M2, 7VCX144, in case I didn't read that one, 02211F1, 6BDN699, 7PMX729, 7SWK596. All right, and these are inevitably documented criminals the same conduct that they're engaging in, no longer having uniform. This is the same conduct that the state uses while it is assaulting and molesting with impossible light activity. That's the absence of coinciding action. It's the system in operation. 8SNU 187, 6VDV 770, 7JOK 446, 5TXD 238. This is the same blue Avalanche truck where the state had impossible light activity next to it, and then 280 North Lemon Minion slams the door in front of the apartments, creating audible activity. 6TTR 677, 8RAY 925, 7H 96951. All right. All right. Okay, I just captured more valuable video. Just wanted to gather that, and I got those license plates. 8VRX437, 6LXS610. And what you're going to want to look at the video, because what I show as I stand at a different location, again, the state places its light source based on where I am located. And so because I'm located next to the Wells Fargo Bank, you see what is the movement of the state's light source again, not just moments earlier where I captured it directly over my head at the museum. Okay, so within minutes, it is as I move north up Euclid Avenue. You have it at the, this is monitoring with minor children. That's what they're all doing over here at the park. I'm sorry, at the town center. Let's get license plate 6JDW421. I've already documented them. Let's see. Starting the ignition is a form of audible activity. That's 8ABG443, 7UUN561, 8DTU093, 8DJH147. And so, like I was stating, you have what is the, as I move to a different location from where I was standing at the sidewalk, showing you the contrast between after 2 p.m. No, let's go after 1:48 p.m. being over me at Economy Inn, and then remaining over my head while I'm on third-party facilitating venue Omnitrans, traveling north of Euclid Avenue to be directly over my head as I stood at the exact same location at or around 10:15 a.m. is what I captured in video. State's fake sun in the same documented location, which is the impossibility. This is the blatant stalking conduct with light. Why? Because the state is monitoring with communication devices with all of these minions that I continue to document. It is 10:40 a.m. Can I help you with something? All right, this is a group stalker that's just walking, standing. No, you're not. You're not. Sorry, you're monitoring. And so she's monitoring. She's maintaining presence as I stand at the water fountain, and she does so. Oh, I'm waiting for the water fountain. She is stalking. And let me show you what is the movement of the state's fake sun. Now over me, while I'm standing closer to 280 North Limit Apartments. It is 10:41 a.m. Alrighty, another pause because I'm capturing video. Just speaking to what is the connecting of all of those dots, showing what is the significance of stalking with a light source, which, as I have already shown and demonstrated, is the reality of the state stalking with the people of the state. And this is why and how you document them by the tons. 8 SRU 547, in case I didn't read that one already. And I believe she's monitoring with minor children as well. So that is... I think I got all of these already. 8DJH147, 6XTK480, and I know I read that. And you've got the same group stalker using a budget vehicle. Budget is a stalker, okay? That's how that goes as far as policy. You're talking about the breaking down of a system of monitoring by government and using what's supposed to be companies and, in other words, ways in which someone would not be able to construe the fact that the government is stalking them through such means. So this is going to result in this group stalker using yellow ride cab number 625. Yes? No, he's doing so under a fake sun. He's not confused. This is a group stalker using the vehicle. This is a commercial vehicle. License 75159 Frank 2. That's yellow ride cab. Impossible light activity as he's crossing path and asking that question behind the light activity created by the budget truck under the fake sun with its hazards on. All right, in front of 280 North Lemon Apartments. Okay? P.O.C. It is 10:46 a.m. And just speaking to what is that ongoing prosecution of the people, and you're talking about what they're doing inside of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. As I isolate the P.O.C. to that venue, because everything that I just documented, it prosecutes the people in general, but as I hone in on each one, it prosecutes every single last one of them. So, in applying that, it is prosecuting Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, the documented criminal activity going on in that venue, which is not assessed in a vacuum. It's pursuant to the state's pattern of conduct. And it is also speaking to what the state continues to engage in with its light, which is impossible to coexist with what the state has already been documented in, and as yet on another day at 10:47 a.m. documented again. All right, they are engaged in sexually violent criminal monitoring. Doing so through the use of children, with the use of children, with ongoing knowledge of the documentation that goes to the intensity of that prosecution. All right, it's not just an ordinary psychopath, it's one that's listening to your words as you document it and then engaging in ongoing sexual violence and using minor children. All right, that's the significance of everything. So everything I document, you're going to remember, oh, they knew about what she said, so they're intentionally doing that at the moment that they're doing it with that intent to repeat. That's what you're analyzing. That's how all of that works together. All right, and that's how you're looking at what is a psychopath. It's 10:47 a.m. and that is P.O.C.